various projects. I can vividly remember that indeed at our General Assembly in Beirut we had several liberal youth organizations from this region joining the IFLRY family. And they would tell us that through their connection with IFLRY and with their connection with young liberals worldwide, it would give them hope, because freedom was just only they could dream of. It fills me with pride today to see that these young dreamers have now woken up to a new dawn and a new beginning. Ladies and gentlemen, none of us can imagine what went through the mind of Mohamed Bouazizi that morning in December last year. It started as any other day. Age 26, young Mohamed would go to the supermarket in Sidi Bouzid, Tunisia, to fill his cart with fruits and vegetables in order to sell them on the street. He had dropped out of school as he had to financially support his family, such as his sister who is in university. He had applied for many jobs, but there was no work for him in Tunisia. A day earlier he had invested about 150 euro in goods, and with his scales to weigh the fruit, he would try to get by, and maybe later try to buy a pickup truck so he did not have to walk every day to the supermarket. It is a story that could have happened everywhere. India, Mexico, Mozambique. But that morning, as many times before, the police would be there to harass him, citing some bureaucratic rule, and because Mohammed did not offer a bribe as he had done before, a policewoman confiscated his goods and scales. The police beat and publicly humiliated him. When he went to the police station to see an official and complain, they told him that it would not be possible. Mohamed Bouazizi was granted no rights, no property, and no voice. So seeing no future, he would go and get paid fuel, return to the police office, and set himself on fire. He would die on January 4th of this year. The rest of it is the history that is happening today. It is not for me to qualify and explain the act of Mohammed. A hero, a fool, a martyr. I do not know. He was no politician. He was no religious leader. He was just a man. What I do know is that this event, as a catalyst, would be known as the story of frustration, with the ultimate consequence and sacrifice. A way of saying no more. This must end. So the young women and men of Tunisia, and later Egypt and elsewhere, understood that there is an alternative. They expressed an authentic desire for freedom. Freedom of oppression. Freedom of want. Freedom to express oneself. Not knowing what would come, and probably with much uncertainty and fear, they would go ahead and take to the streets. One voice became two voices, and then grow into a continuing chant that would echo in many countries in this region. Ash-Sha'ab yurid isqat an-nizam. The people want the fall of the regime. Ladies and gentlemen, the Arab Revolution is a story of people, of real life, hopes and dreams, of very human concerns and problems. Those wanting to reduce the people in these countries to some group identity would be proven wrong. The heralds of the clash of civilization or religions would be silenced by the images and voices on our television screens. An ideology does not have arms and legs. A religion does not get married and have children. No group identity has flesh and blood. People do. It is the free-thinking men and women that made these revolutions possible. It is the victory of the individual, working together, that made the road to freedom a reality. I am 30 years old, which means that 60% of the population of the Arab world is younger than. This is an immense challenge. Economic and social opportunities must be created. Employment, education, chances for entrepreneurship. We must establish the necessary conditions: human rights, rule of law, separation of religion and state. As a voice for liberal youth worldwide, I ask you to realize that the youth of the Arab world is not only its future, it is very much its present. Let us not use a conference to talk about youth, but rather with youth. Let us make the dynamism and optimism of youth the driving force of the new Egypt, the new Tunisia. Let us give them a say and role. We want to see those young people who stood in the streets, entered into parliaments, lead civil society, society organizations, become journalists and teachers, start new companies. Indeed, as a European, I feel humbled by the amazing efforts of youth in this region. The degree of creativity and perseverance, their use of technology to spread information and to organize, is something that all of us can envy. So let there be no mistake. I am not here to teach you anything about democracy. I am here to share, to learn, and to be inspired. We are speaking as partners here. You have given new meanings to democracy, shown its future. You know you will have to embrace the political and economic freedom that many of us take for granted. So let us further cooperate towards that goal, to facilitate the exchange of ideas and people, to open up markets and borders, which is not an easy debate in Europe. All of us will have to take the responsibility. The transition will not be easy. As IFLRY, we will, with our partners, do our best to provide support, to make sure that another Mohammed or a Fatima or anyone else can enjoy freedom tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Thomas Leys. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure and the honor to introduce to you Mr. Dieter Hofstadt, who is also a member of the European Parliament since 2009, where he is heading the ALDE group, which is the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats for Europe. But I gather all of us know him as the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Belgium, this important post which he had from 1999 to 2008. Two words regarding ALDE. It is the parliamentary group of the Liberals in the European Parliament. It is the third largest political group in this important institution. As it says in the website, it's a strong center force with a pure pro-European political agenda. And importantly, I would like to highlight this in this context, this has become a focal point for the European support for the Arab revolutions. And this is mainly also due to the many initiatives of Mr. Verhofstadt. Please join me in giving him a big hand.
Thank you very much, Doctor, and thank to the Friedrich Naumann Foundation and for all the work that has been done to prepare this meeting, this conference of today. I think if we have to choose a title, I should say it's a European Liberal Conference. So that can be a tradition from now on. I think that I don't know, every year we have an Arab European Liberal Summit as we have today. And I am not alone. There is a delegation of the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats of the European Parliament present here. Doctor with Marielle Sarnes, Dr. Mel Scott, Marie Leys, Mr. Van Baal, Jo Weigel, and Maritje Schaake, who are present here. And it's true what Hans van Baal said, it's easier to come to here to Egypt as a liberal, as a Christian Democrat, or as a socialist, because we came here also before the revolution, and for contacts between Liberal International, ALDE, and Friedrich Naumann Foundation and ELDR with the Egypt Liberal parties is already a relationship that is based on a long tradition, I should say, and is not something new after the revolution. I have to tell you that I must admit that the last 3-4 months I was not very proud on the positions of the West